Hello, welcome to Film at 11, a new video podcast in which an 11-year-old film critic watches a movie, perhaps even a famous movie he's never seen before, and tries to give his honest assessment of it. My name is Joshua Zeiber, editor of The Video File, a home theater blog about movies, TV, Blu-ray, 4K, and other related topics. As you've probably guessed, I'm not 11 years old. This is my son Thomas, however, and he recently did turn 11. Pretty much the only movies he likes all have the word Transformers in the title.
I like some animated movies too.
He says he likes some animated movies too. Transformers and animated movies, preferably if they're the same, then those are the ones that he likes. This is my attempt to broaden his film horizons a little if I can. So here's how it works. In each episode, I will choose a movie using my discretion as a parent for what I feel is appropriate that my son has not seen before. He will not know what it is in advance. He will go into the viewing with an open mind. Afterward, we'll discuss what he thought about it, which parts he liked, and which parts he didn't. We're recording this episode a couple months after the holidays, but nevertheless, we're going to watch a Christmas classic for this viewing. The timing isn't necessarily inappropriate. In the summer of 1984 was released Gremlins, Joe Dante's Christmas classic about a parent's heartwarming tale of a parent's well-meaning attempt to buy his son the perfect Christmas present. The movie is rated PG and is less than 2 hours long. As I recall, I did see this in the theater when I was 10. So, Thomas, to confirm, have you watched Gremlins before?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. How much do you know about it?
A lot?
You know a lot, because it's something that's been in the popular culture a lot. So you've seen the characters.
Mostly from you, not gonna lie.
Mostly from me. Okay. What have I shown you?
I asked about it once when you
Okay.
had all those action figures back there.
Oh, so you noticed those, huh?
Yeah, I saw a little gremlin dude, and I asked what the
I
movie
put
was.
those there as an Easter egg to see if you would notice them.
I'm calling cap on that.
All right. Do you know what the movie's about?
Yeah.
Because see, this guy's cute. He's very cute.
Y'all.
Okay. So you know what the movie's about. So what are your feelings about this before we start? Are you excited for it or are you nervous?
Nervous.
Nervous. Okay. Why are you nervous? Tell people why you're nervous.
Because, from what I've heard about it, it's like a horror movie. And I don't like scary stuff.
He doesn't like scary stuff, he says. Uh-oh. We're in big trouble. I think you'll enjoy this. It's not really a horror. Well, it is a horror movie, but it has some funny parts too. I think you'll like it.
I don't like horror movies.
Too bad. You're being forced to watch this one. Sit up,
Sad
please.
face.
All right. So now he knows what the movie is. So we are going to start watching Gremlins. Let's roll it. Welcome back to Film at 11. We have just finished watching Gremlins, and this was Thomas's first time viewing of the movie Gremlins. And I could tell at the beginning of this that he was a little nervous going into it because I think he assumed it was going to be a super, super scary movie. So Thomas, my first question for you is, are you traumatized? Do I need to bring in a child psychologist to have a talk with you about this? Okay. You didn't find it that... Was it scary for you? It was scary? What parts did you find were scary?
I didn't like the jump scare when when Stripe was a skeleton.
At the end there?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was kind of a frightening image. Was there other stuff in the movie before that?
Not really.
Okay. All right, so I have some questions for you. I wrote some stuff down here. Number one, well, I noticed, so I'm sure you've noticed that Gizmo looked an awful lot like a stuffed animal. That was intentional, that he remind people of like a cute teddy bear, yes? And I see that you've brought an emotional support animal with you to help you just get through this. this horrible trauma that I've put you through making you watch Gremlins. Do you want to introduce your stuffy? No. Okay. Okay. So, Thomas, I told you at the start of this that I wanted you to try and pick out three things you either liked or didn't like about the movie. So, what were those three things be?
Well, I liked that Gizmo looked like a teddy bear.
Okay.
I also liked that they blew up the movie theater and they were all the little gremlins were like acting like different people and one
Mm-hmm.
was smoking like 3 cigarettes.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything you didn't like?
I didn't like that they murdered people.
Okay, because they did. A couple of people in the movie did die. Though I will say that at the end, while we didn't see him, Mr. Futterman, the guy with the
Mm-hmm.
tractor, it said that he survived and he made it and was in the hospital. He was
Mm-hmm.
just injured. But there were a couple of deaths in there. So that's probably a little intense for a PG rated movie. I don't know that
Mm-hmm.
you've seen a PG rated movie where people get killed before, have you? No? Okay. I will just say that so this movie was before the PG-13 rating had been created, and this was one of the movies that pushed for that rating to be created, which is a rating between PG parental guidance and R, which means it's really for adults. So this probably would have gotten a PG-13, I think, if it had come out a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, so as we said, Gizmo looks like a stuffed animal. What did you think that the Gremlins looked like or acted like?
Well, they looked like little monsters.
Yeah. Did they remind you of anything?
Not really.
Okay, not necessarily in their appearance, but more just in their behavior and the way that were depicted.
Crazy people?
Well, yes. What I wrote down here is that to me they looked like evil Muppets. Would you say that that's a fair description? Because they acted a lot like Muppets, and they were very silly at times. The Gremlins were, and they were doing very silly things like dressing up in costumes, and some of them were like smoking 3 cigarettes and
Mm-hmm.
other weird stuff. But they really the way that they were always laughing at stuff reminded me a lot of Muppets, and so this is I think meant to be a twist on that to say well what if Muppets were evil? Did you did you like or not like that aspect of it?
I kind of like the aspect.
Okay. Who is your favorite gremlin?
I liked Gizmo because he
Okay.
was cute.
Well, Gizmo was a mogwai. Who was your favorite gremlin?
I liked the guy who was smoking 3 cigarettes.
Okay. You thought he was funny?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gotta say that at the end there was a lot of gremlins all in that movie theater, and there was just tons of them all doing different things all
Mm-hmm.
at once, and they were all pretty crazy. The one that I just thought was the funniest was the guy who had a popcorn bucket on his head with little holes cut out for his eyes.
I
Did you
know,
see that
right?
guy?
Yeah. I saw like a few of those guys.
Yeah. Were there any others there that you picked out that just you just thought was a funny image?
Not really.
Okay.
Wait, actually,
Yeah.
I saw that there was one that put, I think, like a bunch of fluff in their hair, and they were cheating in the card game
Yeah.
with Stripe.
Yeah. And Stripe didn't enjoy that, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Um. So as we talked about, this movie has some stuff in it that's a little on the scary side. So there's stuff like in addition to a couple of people getting killed, a lot of gremlins get killed.
Mm.
I mean, especially at the end. But even before that, I mean,
I mean, they blended up a gremlin, stuck him in the microwave, and stabbed him with a knife.
yeah, yeah. Well, those are three different gremlins, but yes, and then one of them they put in the fireplace and set on fire.
They chopped his head off and set it on fire.
Yeah. So stuff like that. As an 11-year-old, did you find that scary or did you find that funny or what was your reaction to that?
I found it Uh, not really scary,
Mm-hmm.
but more of like an action movie
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing.
Yeah, this movie, it has elements of action movie in it. It also has some elements of horror movies in it, but it puts a funny spin on most of
Mhm.
them. But it threads a delicate needle between what is appropriate for kids and what is maybe a little too scary for kids. And there's
Mhm.
stuff like that. I mean, some of those images, especially like you note, and spoiler alert, sorry, about Stripe dying at the end,
Mhm.
that's a that was a really gruesome special effect
Yeah.
of him dying, and he was a major character seen throughout most of the movie. Um, so I can understand that sort of thing being, disturbing to someone who's 11. But do you think you were old enough that, to handle that, or do you think that maybe this was a little too early for you to watch this movie?
Think I was old enough to handle it.
Okay.
Mhm.
The other thing, and I'll note for our viewers that Thomas's mother does not enjoy this movie. And the reason that she doesn't enjoy this movie is one particular speech that Billy's girlfriend gives towards the end about the worst Christmas she ever had. Did you pay attention to that part?
Yeah.
And the awful thing that happened to
Mhm.
her on that Christmas. Does that something that bothered you?
A little, yeah.
Okay, because it was a pretty, I mean, I would say it's a pretty sad moment for her, a
Mhm.
pretty scary moment for someone to, and we didn't see that happen, but she talks about it, and she's clearly, even as a grown up, she's still traumatized by
Mhm.
that. So that, I mean, that sort of stuff, this movie slips in there, but I don't think it, for me, and I saw this first when I was 10, it didn't really cross the line into the part where I felt too scared by it.
Mhm.
But again, you're a different person.
I didn't feel as scared though.
Okay. I will just say there is a sequel to this movie.
Mhm.
Um, some people like it better than the first one. I am not one of those people. I don't really like the sequel at all. But I will say that the girlfriend character is back and she has another horrible Christmas story. It's even worse than the first one. And that was, a running joke that became very funny in the sequel. Um, would you, at some point, want to watch a sequel to this movie?
Maybe.
Okay. Because, like I said, some people like it better than the first one. But it's very different in tone than this one in that it's a lot jokier and it's a lot sillier. And there's less of the horror movie element to it and more of the silliness of the Gremlins.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think that's why some people like it better because it's more comedy than thriller, whereas this has an equal measure of both of those things in it.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not going to force you to watch it, but if you're ever interested, we can arrange for that to happen. All right. So, in your final analysis here, um, our rating scale is it's either a W or an L. And what would you give this movie?
I would give it a W.
You'd give it a W. Would you recommend this movie to your friends who are your age?
Yes.
Okay. Would you? It sounded like you hesitated a little there. Would you have to qualify that for them and warn them about it?
Yes.
Okay. Because or do you think some of your friends might be too sensitive?
Yeah. I don't think they would be into the same stuff as me.
Okay, that's possible. All right, but ultimately you enjoyed this movie, and you
Mhm.
don't feel that I picked a movie that was going to be too terrifying for you, do you?
Yeah, but now that I know what happens, it won't be as scary if when I would watch it.
All right, so if you watched it again, you think you'd
Mhm.
handle it better,
Yeah.
knowing in advance
What that's gonna
what's in there.
happen.
Okay, that makes sense. And this is a movie that, as I said, I saw it for the first time when I was 10. I've seen it a lot since then. I think as you get older, it's one that you come to enjoy a lot, and remember the really funny parts and get pleasure out of the dark comedy where it's humor, but it's at the expense of terrible things happening to
Mhm.
people. Because a lot of that is really funny. This movie also makes a lot of references to other movies. Some of them you may have gotten when we were watching. We pointed out how Mrs. Deagle is an awful lot like the old lady at the beginning of The Wizard of
Mhm.
Oz. There's a lot of references in this movie to other movies that you'll eventually see as you get older. and I think you'll once you understand more of those references, I think the movie becomes more enjoyable. All right, so you ultimately do give it a W.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything that you want to say as we close this out?
No.
Okay, you don't have any last thoughts on it?
Mm-mm.
Okay then. Well, there we have it. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Do your part for that. Every like that you give allows me to feed this poor child, who will clearly waste away without your sharing and subscribing. For every 2
Wow.
subscribes allows me to give him a nutritious meal that will fill his belly. So
Wow.
so please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want a more grown-up take on movies, please feel free to head over to videofileblog.com. And if you're searching in Google, you have to put the blog part at the end, or Google sends you weird places. So we hope you enjoyed Film at 11 for Gremlins.
Like and subscribe.
All right, gonna say goodbye.
Bye.
Take 1. All right, you have a second to get ready. Do you feel like you're ready? You don't have to look so sad. You don't have to put on a fake smile either.
How am I? What if I'm sad? I'm sad that I stubbed my toe.
Are you gonna live?
No.
That's a shame.
Meanie.
Bummer. Well, hopefully you get through this before you die, okay?
Meanie.
Okay. Then this will be your last thing you do on Earth.
Yeah, I'll go to Mars.
You'll go to Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right, I'm going to slate this again.
Jupiter.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.